Hello everyone, this is Captain Logan, and welcome to a random impromptu live show. The way the OBS is set up right now, I cannot tell if I'm actually broadcasting right now or not. There's a window that claims, it looks like I am now, there's a window that claims that I'm not live yet, but a couple weeks ago, we did a show like this, and it was clear later that we had been broadcasting before we thought we were, so we looked really super professional. Not loving the updates on this streaming service, but whatever. I'm back. I'm lonesome, just hanging out. This was not a scheduled thing. I thought it would be fun to do a random show just out of nowhere, and I had originally planned on doing this last week before something fell through on Wednesday, and suddenly I was able to do the Captain Logan show. And hi guys, a couple people in the comments here already, and I thought it would be fun to go ahead and just do it anyway. So here I am. I had a little bit of time, and probably going to work on something here in a little bit. I got a movie that I needed for a request, and about to start getting requested reviews up again. One of those posting on Monday. Originally was going to post tomorrow, but then I had forgotten that the Harley Quinn pilot was going to drop, and I needed to go ahead and get that reviewed, so I shot a review on that today, and that's going to go up tomorrow, and that is an interesting show and will be an interesting thing to see comments for. A whole bunch of people in the comments. Hi, everybody. Was not expecting to see this many people just to pop in and say hello on a random, what is this, Saturday evening. But welcome, everybody. I see SS Jerry there in the comments. I see Alex Barron, Nirab Sivad. That's a name I don't recognize. Hi there. Elish Lee, Rainbow Color Warrior, Donnie St. Pierre, Andrew Follette. Lots of folks, Ben Lutz. Lots of folks hanging out. Lots of people already asking questions, so I'm going to start answering some of those. We're going to do this kind of like a regular Captain Logan show, except there's nobody here to mod the comments. It's just going to be me and you guys, and I'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I am an absolute fraud at my job. This is like a good, 30-40% of what I do now. I just show up. I don't have any plans whatsoever, and I just talk at you guys and just answer questions. Just stuff people say. Hopefully, I'm like half decent at that, because people keep popping in to hang out and do that. So it's really nice of you guys, and I love it, and I have so much fun hanging out with you guys. Part of the reason I want to do this too is just because I have the luxury of doing it now. I've got this bunker now, which I keep showing off in videos, and I'm so excited about it. It's so much fun down here, you guys. People keep popping over, and we'll have friends or family over, and we'll be hanging out upstairs, and then I'll show people the basement, and invariably we just end up hanging out here the rest of the evening. We've been doing karaoke, we've been watching videos and stuff. I've got a projector and a projector screen set up right here now. Let me grab this camera just real guerrilla style and show you guys a little bit of what the office area looks like. We've kind of developed this like a set, and there's 1,000 square feet down here. There's a bunch of other areas in the bunker that I will show you guys down the road, and that Patreon has already seen the real early developments of. It's a lot different now. I've already made a whole lot of progress, just been here a couple weeks, but let me take this camera and see what I can show you guys. So just put that couch in. That's where we're going to be shooting commentaries now. And here is my projector, and there's a projector screen up there. I don't know if you can see that I can pull down, which is cool. It's like an old school, like high school projector screen. And then the superhero movie collection is there in the background. Does not look as impressive as it once did in this bigger space. I've got a lot of room to grow now, which is just absolutely wonderful. I got my mood lighting back here, and then what else can I show you guys? And then back past my head is where I'm shooting videos with co-hosts now, how he felt about, and I shot a vault there with Eric just the other day. He's the first person to shoot with me there, but it is not the first video that you'll see. I actually shot, like I said, how he felt about for the Harley Quinn pilot with Brandon. He came over and watched that with me, and we shot that after the vault that I shot with Eric. I did a vault finally with Eric on Demon in a Bottle, and that was a request, and again, that'll come up on Monday. And then about to do a review on 12 Monkeys. That was also a request from a long time ago, finally getting around to doing that, and some other vault requests and things that I'm going to be working on here pretty soon. So let me go ahead and start reading some comments. And again, thanks so much for being here, guys. It's so cool to see everybody. Not playing a video game or anything tonight. Didn't have the couple hours to work on more Telltale, but I'm going to try to get to that here pretty soon. And tonight, just wanted to do kind of an off-the-cuff, I mean, I guess these are always off-the-cuff, but kind of impromptu sort of pseudo Captain Logan show. Let's jump right to the top. Just a lot of people saying hi. It is Cap, it's me, that's true. Alex Barron, Cap and Retro 4:3 aspect ratio. Yeah, I don't know why this camera shoots out that way. You don't notice it as much on the Captain Logan show because I've got DJ there as well, but DJ is in more of a landscape view, and I'm in 4:3, and it's kind of weird and strange. And I didn't really even think about it until I did this, and I had to put this background behind it. But yeah, that's what it looks like right now. I should mess with settings and see what the deal is with that, see if it is this webcam. Surely not. This is not a real old webcam. I don't know why it would regularly shoot out that way. But maybe I just need to get another one out at some point. So anyway, everybody's asking where Eric is. I'm not sure where Eric is right now. He might be out with his girlfriend. I'm not really sure what he's doing at the moment. People are asking what's going to happen with After Dark. So Eric and I are going to try to shoot another one of those soon, but I don't know how much more After Dark's going to happen with Eric after that. We're just playing things by ear right now. He's in the process of moving soon, and then after he moves out of the house, he eventually might be moving to Colorado. In fact, that's more or less a done deal, and it's just a matter of when that's happening now. And so I'm not going to have Eric regularly for After Dark, especially by Colorado, but he's so busy with his own stuff right now that I don't want to have to count on him, and I don't want him to feel obligated. So he wants to do that show. He loves doing that for you guys. But we're just doing it whenever we get a chance, so I can't promise twice a month anymore, or even necessarily once. We're trying to do it once a month right now, but like we were going to do a Halloween one. That fell through. Our schedules just didn't work out for it. And as I've mentioned before, he has to get up real early for his job these days, and he just has real limited time. So here is the plan right now, and I did want to go ahead and announce this tonight for you guys, and I'm glad we've got kind of a crowd here. The plan right now for the replacement for After Dark, and I'll bring in other co-hosts here and there when I'm able, probably, but the plan right now is to turn After Dark basically into a Captain Logan after show. So I don't know if I'm going to do this every time I do a Captain Logan show, but at least twice a month. So we do the Captain Logan show weekly, so generally 4 times a month. At least after 2 of those, if not more, I'm going to basically do Captain Logan After Dark, and I don't know what I'm calling it yet. I don't know if it's going to be that. I don't know if it's just going to still be Geekvolution After Dark. I don't know what I'm calling it yet, or if it's just going to be the Captain Logan after show. But basically what we'll do is DJ and I will make a Captain Logan show, and then there'll be a break, maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, and then I'll come back and I'll do basically a more After Dark kind of format. I'll probably come with some pre-written topics. People that are on Patreon will be able to watch that show live, but it will be an unlisted show that you'll have to be a patron in order to watch, and then you'll also have to be a patron if you want to watch it after the fact. And so it'll just be me and the patrons chatting on that show. And it will be like After Dark in that it will be uncensored. I may occasionally swear on that show. I may talk about things that I wouldn't usually talk about on the channel. And a lot of the topics for that show will come directly from the patrons. So I'll write down topics like I always did with me and Eric, stuff that I want to bring in and talk about, but I'll also have a list of things from the patrons, and you won't have to be at any particular tier just $2 or more in order to ask questions for that show, and I'll just keep a log of the best questions, and I won't promise to necessarily answer one, so you won't be entitled to a question by being a patron. Like, I'll definitely answer it, but because I just want to make sure that the topics are really good, but I'll answer as many of them that I really like as I can, and then I'll also answer some live questions during that as well. So that's, and I don't know how long that show is going to be. I don't know if that'll be another full hour or just, half hour, 45 minutes. I haven't figured all of this out quite yet, but I want to do kind of a test of that this next week. And so that's the plan right now. I hope people will enjoy that. I know there's some folks that are patrons just to get more content from Eric, and so I will completely understand folks that decide not to continue being patrons when Eric leaves, because that's the reason that they were there. But I wanted to give you guys more, of course, regular content that's exclusive to Patreon. And but again, as I've always said, not review material, because I don't want people to. I don't want to put up a paywall for any review stuff that we do. And I've always said not commentaries either. I could see doing maybe some blind commentaries specifically for Patreon. I don't know that that would be the worst thing, because it's not exactly review material. It's bordering on reaction videos, which I don't want to do regularly on the channel. So if I was going to do more of that kind of thing, it would be good to do that on Patreon. I've done blind commentaries. I like them, but I think it would make sense to do that more as a Patreon thing. So looking forward to seeing what people think of that, and if they think that's a good idea. That's what I'm kicking around right now. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it's good. Nirb Savaz says it's Sunday evening where he is. Yep, different parts of the year. Vitale says it's 8 a.m. In the morning where he is. It would be interesting to see the ratio and how many people are actually watching this just after midnight. I guess it's getting even closer to 1 o'clock now, and how many people are at various times of the day. Rainbow Color calls me a hack fraud. That's fair. Christopher Swagger. Oh, lucky duck. Hey, Cap, I'm seeing Team BG live next year as part of their Flood anniversary show and was wondering, how are they live? Spectacular. I am real biased because Team BG is my favorite band, but it's also my favorite band to see live. I have been to a lot of live rock shows, and They Might Be Giants continues to be my favorite. I've seen them 7, 8 times. Always a lot of variation. It's always, if you really know the repertoire, it's a lot of fun to see them multiple times because they play everything. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 songs they don't like that they refuse to play, but almost everything in their repertoire. And they have a lot of albums, and I like the majority of their albums. And so, but yeah, they always have a lot of energy. They always do a lot of, kind of fun, silly stuff on stage. It's not your typical average rock show. Linnell especially likes to get real silly in the microphone, and they never sing the song exactly like you remember it. So if you're the kind of person that likes more of a Foreigner show where it sounds exactly like the record, you probably wouldn't like Team BG. But I like all the variation they do. Nothing they do ever sounds the same twice, and so it's never boring, even when they do a lot of the same material that you've seen them do before. And they'll always surprise you with some kind of deep pull if you really know the band, where you're like, oh man, I can't believe they played that. My favorite Team BG song, and I can't explain why, continues to be a track off of Miscellaneous T, which is not even a regular album. Miscellaneous T is kind of a B-sides album called It's Not My Birthday, and I heard Linnell play that one time live. I think like the third, maybe the third or fourth show I went to. And it was great. He did it kind of unplugged, and it had been so long since he'd played it that he forgot some of the lyrics in the second verse, which was really amusing. And oddly, one of my favorite things seeing from them just because of that mistake. But yeah, if you like Team BG, you definitely owe it to yourself. There's almost always a guest horn player that will come in and play a couple of tracks, like Hey Mr. DJ, I Thought We Had a Deal, and songs like that have a lot of horn work, and it's fantastic. So let's see what else there is to see, and you guys, please, if you're so inclined, weigh in on my idea for replacing After Dark, because and let me know, like, if you're not already a patron, if that would be a thing that would maybe make you consider being a patron, but also if the After Dark thing is a deal breaker. Now, if you're already a patron, there's not a lot I can do about it. I mean, I can try to bring in a co-host to replace Eric and do exactly that show, but I don't know who that would be. And I've kicked around some different people, and there's no replacing Eric for like what exactly that show is. So obviously I need to do something instead of it, and I want to do something sort of the same ilk, but I don't want it to be exactly the same thing. And I'm also trying to not rely too much on other folks right now and do more solo stuff, and then just bring in people when I'm able to. So hopefully that's not a deal breaker for folks, and hopefully people like that idea. But that's kind of my plan right now. Chewbacca's lover. So is Eric moving to the place with bad internet? If so, do you have a way for him to contact you when he gets internet? A lot of people keep asking me about this as well. I'm just at Eric's mercy and Colorado's mercy with that. Yes, he's going to be moving to the place with bad internet, and also he's just going going to be in a kind of situation, at least for a while, where it's not going to make a lot of sense for him to do videos with his living situation. And I don't want to talk a lot about Eric's personal life and what exactly he's doing. That's for him to mention if he wants to. But suffice it to say, he's told me that he doesn't think he's going to be set up in such a way where it's going to be very easy for him to record, and so I just need to fly without him for a while, and he's welcome back anytime whenever he's able to pop in. But he became kind of the second half of the channel for the last 3 years because it was convenient, right? And that's not to belittle Eric or anything. I mean, he's been absolutely wonderful, and it's so cool for him to do as much as he has for the last few years. But it was never either of our plan for him to become like my partner as opposed to just an occasional co-host like he had been in the past. It just kind of happened that way. It was convenient, and what we like doing together is making videos, and we had a lot of free time together. Or at least he had a lot of free time, and I kind of made time to hang out with him, and that's what we ended up doing. So I kind of turned to the channel, because the time that I usually would be using to make solo stuff, I was using to hang out with Eric, and so it gave me material, and I needed to make things, for the channel to keep things going, and so that's what it turned into. I knew it was never going to last forever, and I love Eric. It's so much fun having him around, and he's been a fantastic partner, and I have definitely thought of him as my partner, but I had never had any illusions that it would last forever. And so hopefully he'll come back for various things. And again, he's welcome back anytime he wants to. But as I've said before, this is my full-time job, and hopefully always will be, at least for as long as YouTube remains a viable thing, and as long as there's an audience for it. I love doing this, and so I can't expect anybody else to do it forever. So anyway, what else? Brickan777, has Cap talked about episode 6 of Watchmen HBO yet in other videos or other posts? I haven't talked at all about any more of Watchmen since the pilot. We did what turned into sort of a spoiler cast. Didn't mean it to. Me and DJ, when the first episode dropped, and I've been kind of waiting for the season to end before I talk very much more about it, just because I don't really want to talk spoilers until I do a spoiler cast, and I'm planning on doing that when that's done. So all I'll say is it remains a fascinating show. I really like it. It's got such fantastic and smart world building, and it's the best sequel to Watchmen I could imagine. Like, that's not a thing I ever wanted, but now that I have it, I'm really, really liking it, and it is in some ways really twisted and really unnerving. I'm not latching on, I will say I'm not latching on to any of the new characters the way I did the characters in Watchmen, but they continue to grow on me. I think Looking Glass is absolutely fascinating, and he'd had a flashback episode that gave us his background, and he's a really interesting character, and I love the way in which he's tied into the events of the original Watchmen and what happens to him on the night of the squid attack. And just all the ways that event has continued to permeate and affect the world, again, in like really smart and extremely well thought out ways. The coolest thing about that show continues to be the alternate history, just like the original Watchmen had, in imagining what 30 years after that would be like and how it differs so much from the real world, the ways in which the future, the ways in which certain technologies continued developing and other ones didn't. Like, everybody walks around with pagers, but there's advanced holographic technology. There's certain things that Veidt was working on that continued to go on, but other things that never happened because you didn't have the .com boom and all of that. Just a lot of research seems to have gone into this, and just looking at the kind of butterfly effect and the way the world did unfold versus the way it might if all of that had happened. And there's obviously a lot of really interesting symbolism and allegory and stuff to look at down the road, and it would be a thing that if it sticks to the landing, I would very much be interested in writing about at some point. But yeah, like I said, my only complaint about it so far is that I'm not in love with any of the new characters. I don't dislike any of them. I haven't latched on anybody like I did Rorschach. But Looking Glass is getting close, and Sister Night is likable, and I care about that character, okay, I suppose. But she doesn't fascinate me or resonate with me the way somebody like Dan Dreiberg did. But their take on Laurie is fantastic, and I'm really impressed with her. And I think my favorite episode so far is her introductory episode. What else? I can see your pixels. I'm just waiting for the next generation arc of Captain Logan. I guess I don't know exactly what you mean by that. That's funny. Hayden Spring, Jason After Dark cuts to snoring. What else? So that is what would be. For a minute, I thought you were saying Jason is boring. No, you mean he's asleep right now because he's a 9-year-old. Yeah, I'm caught up now because jokes are always funnier when you explain them. Johnny 5, how many Blu-rays do you have? Interesting question. I'm not sure. I don't really think about my collection in Blu-rays versus DVDs. I kind of buy and like a lot of people would be driven crazy looking at my DVD and Blu-ray collection because I lump them all together and I don't always even care which one I get because I'm not a big stickler for HD, and like I don't even buy 4K maybe at some point, but I just don't feel the need to do that. So like I'm just not a huge stickler for resolution and stuff. So like if it most things look good enough to me, and some things don't look good in HD and or in like high def, and I don't really want to look at them that way. But with so the way I decide whether I'm going to buy a DVD or Blu-ray tends to be special features. If a thing doesn't have very many special features, or I don't care about them really, but I need to own the movie, I will just buy the DVD. And also, most superhero movies, I have to have the DVD even if I also have the Blu-ray, because I've got to be able to pull out screenshots and footage for Superhero Rewind. So if it comes with a digital copy, I have ways to pull from that, but a Blu-ray, I don't have any way to copy. So I don't know how many Blu-rays I have. Probably 40 or 50 at least. Maybe closer to 100, but I doubt it. I doubt I've got that many. I'm not sure. Malik Myers says he'd love to be a part of that. I think he's talking about the Captain Logan after show. Thanks for that. We'll see what else folks are saying about that here in a little bit. I'm just reading these in order, so a lot of the comments you're hearing right now are from like several minutes ago because I'm all long-winded and whatever. Carl Maxey, how about rotating the cast for After Dark? Yeah, I would be willing to do that, but I'm gonna, especially if I do it right after the Captain Logan show, I'm gonna want to make one even if I don't have somebody. I like to just be able to schedule those and say we're doing this, and if there's nobody that has time to pop in, I just don't have as many people that are able to just jump in at kind of a moment's notice as I once did. A lot of people have gotten really busy. Some folks have just moved on and don't want to do the YouTube thing anymore, and so I still have some options. It's not like it's not like there's nobody that's interested. It's just not as many folks as there once was, and I could start putting my feelers out. And I could start trying to get some new blood, and I'm doing that a little bit. I did recently record. And by recently, I mean, what was it? Yesterday, the day before. Yesterday, I just recorded I've been really busy the last couple days, made a lot of videos, a comic vault on All-Star Superman with one of our writers in the Geekvolution Creative Writing Workshop, and he's great. He just seemed like a really good fit, and so I invited him to try out for the show, and he did a wonderful job. I think you guys are really going to like him. His name is Kareem, and you guys have maybe seen him in the comments. He's been watching us since almost the beginning, or maybe even the beginning, going all the way back, and I like him a lot, and I'm gonna have him back again. So working on a little bit of new blood here and there, but I kind of just want to kind of keep my options open, and like I said, not rely too much on other folks, because I'd hate to just not have somebody, but it absolutely has to be a show that requires a second person. Johnny 5 is talking to somebody else, excuse me. Let's see. Mutale, Cap, if you won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, what is your impromptu speech? I like to thank Geekvolution for paying my bills so I have time to write. That's my impromptu speech. And I would also thank fictional characters like Batman and Jean-Luc Picard and my wife, who is not a fictional character. and then I would pull a Mr. Rogers and do a 10 seconds of silence to think about all of the people that made us who we are and brought us into being. T-Edge1 sounds good. I joined for After Dark, but I'm really enjoying the SSSS. I love supporting this channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Rockman says, ooh, late show. Hi, Rockman. Good to see you, man. Mutale, would you consider Eric your partner or sidekick through his tenure? I'm saying partner, so I'm gonna go with that. I mean, I guess sidekick in the sense that it's my bread and butter, and I have more of a stake in it. So, like, it was never gonna be a 50-50 with anybody because it's the thing that, you know, more or less kind of pays my bills, and so or at least it's my personal, you know, full-time gig. So there was always going to be more of a stake and more of a risk for me, but I never thought of Eric or Vince when he was here regularly as a sidekick. I mean, I always thought of them more as partners and people that you know, I relied on and that I couldn't do what I did without, and I have to just kind of adjust what I do when I don't have a partner. Let's see what else. Carl Maxey, Captain Logan, will you do an award show for the best movies, games, and TV shows that came out last year like you've done before? I kind of play that by ear every year and just kind of look at the previous year and see what I have consumed and if I know enough. We used to do something called the Geeks Not Nerds Awards back when Geeks Not Nerds was a thing. We don't really do that anymore. The Captain Logan show is kind of a catch-all for a number of things we used to do, including Geeks Not Nerds. But the Geeks Not Nerds Awards were put together by a guy who used to be on the channel here and there, whose name is suddenly escaping me, and I hope he's not watching right now because I'm just tired and I'm not thinking of people's names. But King 1912, he put that together and used to pull all, and it was a fun thing that we did. He used to poll the audience and see what our audience thought was the best in each of those categories, and then me and Vince or me and Eric or me and whoever were shooting would tell you what our favorites were, and then see you know, how close we got to the audience. And the last couple years with Eric, we've just kind of talked about our favorites, but mostly just for movies. And like, I haven't been consuming a lot of current comics, so I probably wouldn't do comics, and which sounds weird with me. And I've done more TV, but I still wouldn't feel real comfortable with that. So I might, you know, mention like my top 3 in some categories, but certainly wouldn't act like I consumed anything like everything, and like I really had a good sense of the playing field. Chewbacca's lover. I just lost it. Give me 1 second, guys. This just popped down real hard because there was a whole bunch more comments. Your replacement sounds interesting, but I'd have to try it out to be sure. I'm going to miss Eric. He introduced me to your channel, and I'm still bummed he deleted all of his videos. Yeah, I know people feel bad about that, but I totally understand why he felt the need to do that. John Early, talk about Kappa. I did that on the Captain Logan show, and it's boring, and nobody probably wants to hear me talk about that. I will say I am still nervous about it and curious to see how much the FTC is really going to crack down on people making videos or having posted videos from years ago that they consider for kids that the people who made the videos maybe don't and wouldn't even think to toggle as for kids. I'm a little bit worried about it. I certainly have a lot of stuff on the channel that you could make the case is for kids, but the distinction is whether I intended it to be for children and whether or not it might attract some kids. And the way the law reads, it seems like if any kid might be interested in it at all, you could be liable, and it really just depends on who they decide to go after. Like I said before, really don't want to go through all my videos and toggle some of them for kids just because kids might be interested in some of them, and then they're not searchable, and they're hard to find, and they can't be monetized anymore, and all of that. If it was just a matter of monetization, if all it did was take ads off the videos, I would do that happily. But the bigger issue for me is just not being able to find them, that they're almost essentially unlisted videos. And I don't think that's fair if I'm not making stuff that's specifically just for children to watch. There's so much stuff that's a gray area that I'm like, they're never gonna get all of them toggled. Like, there's gonna be things that somebody's gonna dispute me on, and so maybe this is the wrong attitude to have, but like, I would rather just take the risk and hope I'm okay. And that's gonna suck if I'm not, because the fine could be up to $40,000 per video. But it's kind of, to me, the only way you're completely safe is if you toggle everything you have for kids, or if you make a channel that is indisputably not at all for kids. I never thought that being family friendly would bite me like this, or have the potential to bite me like this. It's really strange, and I've done videos, like commentaries with me and my son on Power Rangers. Okay, Jason is 9, and in some of those was younger than that, and there might be kids that would be interested in that because it's Power Rangers. Power Rangers is a kid's show, but just because I had a kid there, were we talking to a kid audience? Like, we knew that it might attract a few kids, but I'm talking directly to mostly the audience I have there already. And it's also been said by the FTC that they understand that you might have stuff that some kids would come and watch, but that's not what they're after. They're after stuff that is directly, specifically toward kids, and they just don't want targeted advertising toward children. And so, like, I've got stuff that's kind of a gray area. I could see why somebody would look at some of my videos and say, you're trying to get kids to watch, but they're not exclusively for kids. They're for families, or they are family friendly. And I've looked at my analytics, and I'm 3 to 4%. Like, 3 to 4% of our audience is under the age of 13, maybe even a little bit less than that. And so, like, it's hard to imagine that I would get hit, but if they start cracking down really hard on a bunch of other channels, it could happen to us. And so we just have to see if that thing is actually going to go through. And I just kind of want to wait and see if other channels get hit, and just hope I get lucky. I don't, and that will be okay. I wasn't going to talk about that long. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I didn't want to, like, re-explain the FTC thing, but I just wanted to talk about what the way I'm looking at it, and what I'm planning right now for the future. But hopefully we'll be all right. Mutale, yeah, that's true. Eric did just make the videos private, so, like, they still exist, but he's not gonna let people look at them anymore. Dan Liu, Cap, what do you think is the most tragic character in fiction? Wow. The first person that comes to mind is Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. I think that's a pretty good answer. I'm going to stick with that for right now. Mutale, who is your favorite child, Cap? My favorite child. I don't know how to answer that question. Like, I certainly, it's a tie between all 3 of my kids. Like, you can't pick a favorite, and I can't not pick my kids. I don't know if you mean, like, my favorite of my children, or just my favorite child of all time. But yeah, it's my kids. Dave Adkins, hey Cap, hi. Thoughts on future Sonic games after the lackluster Forces? Yeah, I don't care about 3D Sonic. I've never hated the idea of Sonic being in 3D. It's just never been brilliant. Like, the adventure games are okay, but even that I've never been the biggest fan of. And the thing I liked the most probably was Sonic Colors, and part of that is because it had decent 2D stuff also. Forces was not good. About 2 hours of that, and I was done. I really only care about more sequels to Mania, and I'm surprised that nothing's been announced yet, or if it has, I don't know about it. But yeah, like, I'm still open to there being a decent 3D Sonic game, but Sonic Team does not seem to know what to do with Sonic, and it remains kind of sad. Anthony Casero, random TNG question. Why does the ending of Best of Both Worlds work and not feel like a cheat? I love it, but when I say it out loud, it sounds like a cheat ending the way it starts. Okay, that's really interesting. Here's the thing. I always thought it was kind of a cheat. I always felt that way about it. And I think if you watch that is one episode, and it's weird doing it that way because, you had to wait 3 months back then, and it feels like a thing that's supposed to be a big cliffhanger that you're supposed to have to wait on and go, oh man, what's going to happen with when Riker sets fire? But if you watch it together, it's not as much of a cheat. It's just, you wait for 3 seconds, and then he sets fire, and then, nothing happens, because the Borg had a way to stop that. But no, I think it kind of is. And yeah, I think the reason it got away with it is because of the novelty of the cliffhanger, that we didn't have every show in its dog wasn't doing that back then. The biggest one prior to that was Who Shot JR, and Best of Both Worlds was kind of the renaissance of Who Shot JR, and it continued that throughout ad infinitum. So a bunch of shows started doing that after that, Star Trek shows and other things. Smallville had to have a cliffhanger every season. Buffy did one, many of its seasons. It just became a thing that we did with everything. No, I think it actually kind of is a cheat, but, or at least it feels like that Serial thing where it's not a retcon, but it's like, oh, you didn't know where you were going with that, and now you wrote yourself into a hole. And of course, the second part is written by somebody else, and not the person who wrote the first part. And I forget. I think Ron Moore wrote one of those. Maybe, am I remembering that right? It's been a while. I don't remember. But so you have another writer having to write out of a hole, and it was, again, not a retcon, but yeah, not a satisfying beginning. But then there's so much good character stuff with Riker in that, and the ultimate resolution is pretty clever. So I think the deal is it all kind of comes out in the wash. It is a little bit surprising that people didn't complain about it more back then, though. And again, I think a lot of it was just because of the novelty of, we had to wait for 3 months to find out if the main character of this show was going to stay the main character of this show. Cinematographic, am I the only one who thinks that Laurie Blake, we're talking about Watchmen again, has lost her mind? The mighty seem to have fallen hard. Yeah, I think maybe she has a little bit. I need to spend more time thinking about that before I really want to comment much on it. But yeah, I had a similar thought. But in some ways, she seems to really have it together. In some ways, yeah, she seems to have maybe lost it a little bit. I can see your pixels. People are complaining about Blu-ray while I still have and use a VHS. I occasionally will pull out my VHS player. Divid22. So Cap, are you a Charlie Brown man? I never really have been. My dad loves Snoopy. He's a big fan of Peanuts. But it's funny because I didn't grow up with it real hard, but my dad's a huge Peanuts fan. Busted Sim, hey, have you introduced your kids to Star Trek yet? Oh yes, of course. Jason loves Star Trek. They watch it with us all the time. And was it a big deal choosing where to start them off with, or do they just kind of pick up through osmosis? Yeah, pretty much osmosis. Jason is real studious and likes to learn everything he can about everything, so he tends to read more about things than just consuming them. So he goes in and reads stuff about Star Trek, and he does that with video games, certainly. And today he bought a video game trivia game because he spends so much time studying video games. It's late. He flipped over to the back of that box, and he knew the answers to like 3 of the questions that were there, and he was like, oh, I gotta have that. And it was tailor-made for him because he studies video game history, but he doesn't play video games nearly as much as his brother does, and so he does that with a lot of other things, including Star Trek. We play a lot of Star Trek trivia games that some of which I designed back when I ran a Star Trek club. We do that with the family sometimes. Thanks for that question. Let's see here. John Early, do you prefer Jeremy Irons' Adrian Veidt over the one from the Zack Snyder film? Yes, absolutely. And it's kind of too bad that somebody like him couldn't have played it in that movie. We do get a flashback with Adrian Veidt from right after he sets the squid down. And yeah, he looks too old there, even if we're doing de-aging effects. I'm not sure if we are in that. I think so, but it's still more of the gravitas that I would have expected from that character. Yeah, it's great. Motali says I should clone Eric. Yeah, we know what happens when I clone people. It's never a good idea. Everybody having a good time. I certainly am. Can't believe we've already been hanging out here for 40 minutes. Brandon Two N's. Hembry, shout out from someone else from KC. Oh, cool. Where do you live in Kansas City? If I might ask, are you around Overland Park or Lenexa or Olathe or where are you? Also been watching you since I was 13. Oh, so cool, and you're local. Neat. 9 years ago, and thanks for all the quality content you, Eric, and Vince basically created my analytical sensibilities. Really appreciate that. I never know what to say to that. Thank you so much, and really glad if you got anything out of it at all. Let's see here. Chewbacca's Lover, thoughts on the channel Super Void Cinema. He covers unmade superhero films. He's really in-depth and comprehensive. I've not seen that. I know that talking about superhero movies that didn't actually get made has been real popular lately, and I'd like to do more of that myself. But yeah, I haven't seen that. DC Marvel fan guy Cap. Hi! It was so great to see you talking Arrow again. Any chance you can do that for Flash Before Crisis? It has Sinhil, I'm going to butcher this name, Ramamurthy, a.k.a. Mohinder from Heroes. Oh, cool! In a prominent role for the first half. I love Mohinder. I will consider it. I didn't actually plan on talking about Arrow. Like I mentioned in that video, put out in social media a question about whether or not I should watch that, and people seem to think that I ought to before Crisis, so I gave it a go. And if I didn't like the first episode, I probably wouldn't have kept watching, but I enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, I'll keep watching this. And this last week, I had that surgery on Monday for the kidney stone, and so I was kind of out all week, and I had time to watch stuff, so I watched Arrow. So if I can find time, I'll do that. But it was kind of nice not planning on talking about it and then just feeling like talking about it. And then I just sat down and did a video. So that could happen, but I don't want to promise it. But people seem to be interested in that video. So I appreciate everybody taking a look at that. What else, folks? Grimdeath Griffin, any thoughts on Jared Leto being Morbius the Living Vampire or the Nova film? Didn't know that there was a Nova film happening. I haven't even heard about that. Pardon me. I've been a little bit out of the loop, but Jared Leto being Morbius, I've been really curious about. I don't know him from much else besides Suicide Squad, and I can't really gauge anything about other characters he might play and what his performance might be based on that, because it's such a weird project and there's so much stuff that he shot that we didn't get to see. So I just have a real wait and see attitude with Leto being in anything. But just trying to make a Morbius film is a really odd and interesting notion. So we'll see. I mean, I don't have any insights about that, but I'm certainly curious about it. DC Marvel fan guy says he's loving the look of the bunker. Thanks a lot. I've been putting a lot of time and effort into making this look as cool as humanly possible, and I'm really super happy with it so far. Like I said, I'll give you guys a tour of the rest of it soon, of what we have so far. Still doing a lot of stuff down here, and like I said, I used to think I had a big collection, and I look at what's down here now, and it looks a lot barer than it ever did. And I've got 4 sections down here. I've got 4 collections. I have a Star Trek wing, I have a Tick wing, I have a Batman wing. So basically, the Batcave has now been relegated to 1/4 of the bunker because there's so much space. And then I have the Geekvolution Studios, set here and studio. And I don't want to try really hard to fill it really fast with new stuff. Obviously, over time, we'll continue to grow, but it's really nice to have breathing room and space again to grow. I used to not be real sure what I was going to do when I got more comics, and it's easy now, so that's really super nice. But I just got a couple of glass display cases that I'm going to be putting together tomorrow, and so the pop figures are going to go in one of those if there's enough space for them, and then the other one is probably going to be some Star Trek stuff. So I'm excited to get that together. David 22 tells me not to thank Spawn when I win my Oscar. I wouldn't thank Spawn, but I could see thanking Todd McFarlane. I could see doing that. Mutale Cat thoughts on the Black Adam film for December 2021 with The Rock, and it may lead to a JSA film. I hadn't heard that. That's interesting. A lot of cool stuff you could do with a JSA movie, although I would much prefer that to be a period piece. I don't know. I don't have a lot of thoughts about that yet. It's always seemed kind of counterintuitive to me to do a Black Adam movie and not have it be a Shazam movie, like he's just by himself. But I don't know a whole ton about that character, outside of his rivalry with Shazam. So with Captain Marvel. So I don't have a lot of thoughts on that yet, but I'm curious to see if it's any good and if he ever actually crosses with Shazam. Uh, 5590ERS, Cap, would you have preferred if Jason Todd survived death in the family? That's an interesting question. It's really hard to put myself back in that time and place because I was, like 3 and obviously not reading comics yet. So, like, I feel like you kind of had to be there because I never experienced, that hatred that a lot of people had of Jason Todd because I only read it well after the fact and, after he was dead. And never really, when I say that, I mean, I read Death in the Family, but I don't know that I've read more than an issue or two with Jason Todd actually as Robin. So I didn't have that vitriol that a lot of people had against him or any opinion at all. I grew up with Jason Todd as, Batman's big mistake, as the Robin who died and the Robin who Batman couldn't save both physically and emotionally. That kind of went off the deep end, and especially when you get to Under the Red Hood and you have that the notion of Robin kind of hurting people and getting close to murdering people, and then Batman not being able to save him from that, and also from getting killed by the Joker. So yeah, I would have to go back in time and read that stuff as a fan then, I think, to say whether or not he should live. Although if I ever went back and read that stuff, I guess I would have a better opinion on it. David 22. So who is the Alfred of Geekvolution and who is the Jason Todd, Cap? I don't know who the Jason Todd would be. Alfred, I guess, is, I don't know, a wife. Like, she's more in the background and helps out in certain ways, but isn't really in front of camera much anymore. So yeah, I don't know. Madman, if you do another mock election, I lost it. It jumped down again. I think he was just asking what it would be. Oh wow, a whole lot more comments than I realized, and all of a sudden some super chats. I'm gonna have to start moving a little bit quicker, you guys. I didn't realize there were this many questions. Give me 1 second. If you do another mock election, have you given any thought to what theme you might choose? I'm not planning on another mock election. It could happen. If I have a really cool idea for it, I might consider it. The sci-fi thing didn't go over as well as the superhero thing did, which is not all that surprising. 2012, we did a superhero election. 2016, we did a sci-fi election. As kind of like I don't know, as polarizing and controversial as politics are, I don't know that this year I even really want to get into it again. Not that we're actually talking about real politics or anything, but it's hard for me to get as excited about it as I did back in 2012, partly just because of that climate. But it could happen. If a really cool idea strikes me, I might consider doing it. But I really liked in 2016 doing actual debates, and I would need to bring in people to do that, and I'm not sure who that would be yet. So again, I think 2020 is going to be much more of a solo channel, although we'll see. I mean, I am bringing in some other co-host here and there, and somebody could kind of latch on and start being in a lot more videos. So who knows? I mean, I'm not forcing it into more of a solo thing, but I'm just preparing everybody. That's what it's looking like right now, is there's going to be a lot more of me kind of just prattling on. Let's see. Malik Myers, I'd like to see spoiler cast for season 1 of Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing. Definitely thinking about trying to get on those. It's just been difficult to make them a priority. But, so, again, don't want to promise anything, but I do want to do those. It's been a while, so now it's like, does anybody even really care anymore? And I'm for sure folks do. But it's I don't know, like I'm working on requests, and then a lot of the time when I do stuff on new things, it's just I was really interested and took the time to watch it, and so now I might as well make a video, as opposed to I've got to make a video on this, so I need to take a couple of weeks and binge a thing so that I can make the video. But I'm interested in both of those things. I just haven't made myself sit down and do them. I also need to do Umbrella Academy, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff. 3 pros games. Have you seen Harley Quinn on DCU? I have, and I shot a video today on that, and that'll go up tomorrow. Tomorrow. Carl Maxey, Captain Logan, what do you think about the Invisible Man trailer? I've not seen that yet. Thanks for reminding me. I should check that out. Ben Lutz, how whack is Tom King's Batman? A little whack. It's not as good as it used to be, and I've not read the last several issues, but I did get to a place where I was like, oh, this is why people are not liking this, and I'm starting to understand that and see that. I don't know if I'll ever review the rest of it, but I might, and it just kind of hurts my feelings because I thought it was really great early on. Chewbacca's Lover, your chemistry with Eric is the best in discussion videos. You constantly go into rabbit trails that make the topic deeper and more complex than you planned. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Yeah. Whenever I talk to things about Eric, I find out things about myself that I didn't realize about how I feel about a thing, and I come up with takes on stuff that I never would have if I wasn't specifically talking to Eric. He brings a lot of good ideas out of me, I think. Will Eric be on the Rise of Skywalker spoiler cast? How he felt about it, says Stussy. No, he definitely will not be, because he's not planning on seeing that movie. If somebody tells him it's great, he will consider going to watch it. But if that doesn't happen, there's no way he goes at all. So if there's a video right after I see it, Eric won't be on that. David Atkins, £2 super chat. Better Papa Midnight Constantine movie or TV show? Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know. I like them both. I haven't thought about him in that TV show in a long time. But I mean, in the movie, that's an actor I like a lot. And I think if we'd seen... That's always kind of difficult, right? Comparing... Because they are comparable characters. I mean, they're playing the same character, and there are some similarities between them. The Papa Midnight in the show is, if memory serves, a lot more manipulative, and he kind of thinks several steps ahead, and he's got more of an interesting background with Constantine. But also, it's a little bit unfair because you had a 2-hour movie versus a 13-episode TV show, and even though that show wasn't on as long as it ought to have been, there was still more time to flesh out characters. And I think Papa Midnight's only in a couple episodes, but he still gets more screen time than he does in that movie. But just actor-wise, I don't know. That's tough. That is too close to call for me. I think they're both wonderful. And I think that that actor, I can't think of his name right now, in the movie version could have played that character just as well in the TV show. Let's see. SH3P83. Hey, Cap, longtime fan. First live stream. Keep up the good work. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. Sure appreciate it. That Psycho Reviewer. This channel is still my favorite edgy YouTube channel. Is it edgy? Are we edgy? Just keep saying that, because then maybe Kappa can't come after us. But I have people in the comments that think we're edgy, and I can't be making things for kids if I'm edgy, you guys. There's no way that I would be making a show for kids where I was just staring over the internet. Actually, that is the kind of thing kids probably watch, though, right? David22, $2 super chat.